specifically to help us overcome obstacles to us being who we want to be, living the way we want to live in the world, in a good way, with an open heart, without fear, with openness and goodness, that feeling. And the Hanuman Chalisa is specifically designed to help us remove the obstacles to that, to living like that. So I put them together. Calling out to hungry hearts everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this body mine. Calling out to hungry spirits everywhere through endless time. Calling out to hungry hearts, all the lost and the left behind. Gather round and share this meal, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Calling out to hungry hearts everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this body mine. Calling out to hungry spirits everywhere through endless time. Calling out to hungry hearts, all the lost and the left behind. Gather round and share this meal, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Shri Guru Charan Sarodara Jamanam Kuru Sudari Paramana Kubarabana Jasu Jodaya Alachara Udihir Tamu Janke Sunyam Param Kumasiyara Allah Budhi Vedya Devu Mohi Haru Kales Vikas Avanama Chandra Karadeshana Jaya Hanumana Jnana Gurusa Jaya Kapisati Loka Uja So, let's have a chat. Anybody have any, say any questions? Microphone. How was that hearing yesterday? Okay. Do we have a mic? Oh, that. Oh. I tell you, without these musicians and Nina and all the volunteers move my shit around so everybody can sing together or hang out together, I'd just be at home watching TV 24/7. So I really appreciate everything wonderful people do. I just hope you won't be pushing me around too much. I see you. Anybody? There she is. Where's the mic? He's got it here. You have two mics or one mic? You want to test it? Check.
Thank you so much. Carolyn.
Hi.
Thank you so much for everything that you do for us, Katie. The main thing from yesterday got me thinking about some of the things you've said in the past and some of the things from yesterday and all the conversations that everybody had to offer yesterday also were helpful. The question that I have has to do with practice. You always say practice, right?
Yeah, Bob Thurman doesn't like that. He said, when do we get to the concert? It was all this practice.
So when we're at the concert, how practically do you have to offer us ideas for how to be practically practicing, right? So you're out there in the real world and something comes to you, a challenge, whatever it might be. How do you put that into action?
You do the best you can.
Yeah, I figured you'd say that.
Then, what else are you going to do? The worst you can?
Mm-hmm. I like hearing you say it.
Okay, do the best you can, young lady.
But stepping on the heels of that, I thought you would say something along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, some of us are yoga teachers and
Really?
I'm a psychologist and a yoga teacher. And so, you know, we're presented with issues also from folks that come to us. You know, our clients, our patients.
Only talk, say what you know, and don't say what you don't know.
Mm.
Don't talk from books, don't talk from wishful thinking. Either share what you have to share, or say, don't make it up, don't try to help anybody with, you know. You can't help somebody walk somewhere where you haven't gone yet. So.
Do that.
So just be you, be a human being. That's the most important thing, is sharing your heart with somebody. You don't need a lot of words for that. Listening is a big thing. Because we're all doing the best we can all the time, anyway. Think about that. May not be so good, eh? But we're doing the best we can. Why wouldn't we be doing the best? We are doing the best we can. We may not be accomplishing what we want to accomplish or feeling the way we think we want to feel, or being able to be the way we want to be and live in our lives, but still we're doing the best we can. So if it's not enough, let's pay some attention to that and figure out why. That's the whole thing. Not necessarily figuring out here why, but noticing what needs to be, what issues need to be addressed in our lives. Very important. Because what you don't deal with will deal with you. Believe me. When I started singing with people in 1994, It was specifically because I had an epiphany in my room where I saw very clearly and understood very deeply that if I did not sing with people, I would never, ever be able to clean out those shadows and those dark corners in my own heart. I just had this was the only way I had to help myself.
Specifically with people?
Excuse me?
Specifically with people?
Yeah, specifically with people. It would have been nice if it was like, just stay home and, have a couple of drinks and sing. No. No, it was with people. That was brutal. So it took me a while to get with the program, but once you know something, you can kind of tell yourself you don't know, but you know you know. So it took me a while, but here we are. There's somebody over here, right? Where's Mike? Mike's there? Okay, let's work it back this way. Anybody in the middle? No? Oh, somebody in the middle. Blue hat. On the way over, stop and get the blue hat, the mic. Hey.
How's it going? How you doing?
Huh?
How you doing?
Somebody asked me that earlier, and I'll give you the same answer I gave to him. In order to establish a factual situation about how one is doing, one needs a reference point. I'm having a lot of trouble finding a reference point. Thanks for asking.
It's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
So I know that when you were 23, you went to India for the first time.
Uh-huh.
I've listened to some of your workshops and your stories.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to know the significance behind the red dress and the red shirt that you always wear.
And the red thermos. The significance of the red thermos is there is a mochaccino. The significance of the red dress is, after that little incident I told you about where I was going to kill myself, a couple of days later I was walking around in the jungle by myself. And I thought it might be a good idea to smoke some hash. So I sat on this rock and lit up this pipe full of hash and took a few hits. About 30 seconds later, I was running, screaming through the jungle back to the temple. Totally flipped out. And I ran into the temple. Maharaji was right at his window, like waiting for me. Come here! And he looks at me and said, now, one of the things he's been doing, he orchestrated the whole nervous breakdown. Just absolutely every tiny little bit of it. And one of the main things he was doing was jabbing me in the ribs. He kept saying, did I want to get married? And then he said, do you want to marry her? Do you want to marry her? How about her? Do you want her? And I said, no, I love her as a sister, Baba. Oh, you're very cunning. So anyway, the idea behind not wanting to get married was simply to stay with him, because I saw couples get together, and he would go, oh, they're friends. Isn't that great? They're friends, how nice, they're friends. Next day, whoa, you're good friends. Good friends. The next day, boom, you're married. Go back to America, see your parents. That was not my program. My program was to stay as close to those lotus feet as humanly possible every moment of every day, when I wasn't obsessing about sex in my mind.
So the second part of the question is
But
about...
let me get to the, then you can review the whole thing. That's just the background. So there I am running through the jungle, flipped out of my brain, paranoid, skitzed out, and into the temple. Come here! I go to the window and he looks at me and says, what's your name? I said, Krishnadas. Nay, Bajrang Bali. This is the name of Hanuman. Thunderbolt, lightning bolt body, indestructible, powerful as, whatever Superman's powerful as. You're Bajrang Bali. What's your name? Krishna Das. Nay, Bajrang Bali. What's your name? Krishna Das. Nay, Bajrang Bali. Nay, Krishna Das. And I said to him, I'm talking to my guru here, right? I said, oh, okay. You want me to be Bajrang Bali? Name of Hanuman? You remember, he was eternally celibate. He laughed so hard, and he smacked his. It's like he knew something that nobody else knew. Anyway, okay, wise ass. You're Janaka. Janaka was Sita's father, and he was a king, but he was also an enlightened being. He was what they call a Raja Rishi, a kingly saint, a king and saint. He said, you're Janaka, you'll have yoga and bhog, which is worldly enjoyments. You'll have yoga, union with God, and worldly enjoyments. Okay, got it. So he tried to change my name. So it was right after that he made me wear red, because that's Hanuman's color. I had to dye everything red. My longoti had to be red. Everything. That's underwear, for those of you who don't know. Hanuman is called La Longoti. The one who wears the red underpants. That's one of his divine names. He who goes around in red undies. Was that, so yeah, go ahead.
You answered the second part of the question.
Oh. I hate that. Okay, next. Where's the mic? That's it. Give him $5, he'll pay you, he'll get over to you quicker. 5 rupees, you pick, I'm the boss. Full responsibility.
Hi, namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So my name is Arjuna. I have a very skeptical, questioning mind, like Arjuna, a lot of questions. And I came from a corporate world. I studied economics and got an MBA before I became a yogi. That's what I do full time. And I struggle with belief of reincarnation and karma. And I know sometimes belief helps make life perhaps more easy or bearable.
Not for you.
Not for me, because I struggle with belief. And
He's not a believer. You never listen to the monkeys, which is a group of Hanuman.
so I spoke to my friend as I was driving here. I said that you will smile all day. I made a decision to smile all day. But sitting here, I have difficulty smiling. For me, I lost 2 friends to suicide a couple of years ago. And where I work right now, there's people who come in with very heavy hearts.
We have a yoga center?
In my intro yoga, right in Princeton. And what I struggle with, even for myself, is this monkey mind, right? The analytical mind. I want to believe that whatever I'm going through, there might be some karma. There's things that I have to work out in this life before I can progress and move to a higher station. But at the same time, my cognitive mind, the thinking mind, overwhelms this heart. It's almost like this dust is eternally stuck to the heart. I know cognitively I can wipe it away, but at the same time, there's this struggle that leads to pain and strife, self-imposed. And my question is, how did you get to this idea that, okay, it'll be okay, there's a reincarnation, there's a destination, because I personally struggle with that.
When did I come to that?
Really?
Well, I'm asking you. You asked me a question, I'm asking you a question back. You're telling me I got to something, and I'm asking you, when did that happen? And why do you think it happened to me? You assume something about me that's not correct. I don't know reincarnation is true. You know, it's funny, Bernie Glassman, you've heard of Buddha's Four Noble Truths, that's what they call it. Bernie calls them the Four Noble Opinions. That's why he's so great. The Four Noble Opinions. If they're truths, you can't even discuss them. That's it, you know. But if they're opinions, they might be true, they might not. You can discuss it. It's something that opens up the floor to a lot of good talking, a lot of discussion. So I don't know anything. But we're not talking about me, we're talking about you. You actually do believe everything you think. You're telling me you don't believe, you do. You believe everything you think. Every single little miserable thought. Good luck. Get over that first and then find out who you are. Get over what you think you believe, what you think you don't believe. That there's that solid mass in there thinking it's believing or not believing. Right? It's okay. We're all like that. Welcome to the human fucking race. We're all the same. Don't give it away yet. Whether it's true that it's a reincarnation and what that even means. What? Think that I'm going to be Jeffrey from Long Island is going to be reincarnated? As what? A frog in the Amazon? Who knows? No, it's not like that. Even in fact, it's not even like that. That's not reincarnation. That's not what it is. So, let's just try to become a good person. You say you quit the corporate world and became a yogi. Give me a fucking break. The same guy who was in the corporate world is the same guy who's a yogi. Nothing was quit, nothing was left behind. You dragged the whole thing with you. You know that joke about well, whatever. But if you were meant to be in a cave, you'd already be there. So this is called suffering. This is what Buddha said, the first noble opinion. We don't know what is going on here. We don't know where we've come from. We don't know where we're going. One thing we do know, we want to know. We want to wake up. We want to love. We want to feel love, and we want to be loved, and we want to be loved. That's the whole relax. How to find that? Well, one thing's for sure. If we believe everything we think and always act on those thoughts and those beliefs, we'll never find what we're looking for. So, do some yoga. Yeah, you smiled. Sorry.
Thank you. Maybe you could tell us that joke.
It's a process, you know, it's a process. It's a process. Every time when you're chanting and you realize that you're not paying attention, you haven't been paying attention for an hour and a half while you've been sitting here, even though you're singing and clapping and having a great time, you're not paying any attention, you're thinking about the future or remembering something or fantasizing about something or thinking. Every time you come back, that's a seed that gets planted in you, in your heart. And those seeds will grow. Every time you come back, from whatever you're doing, from wherever you've gone, wherever we've gone in our heads, come back to this moment. That's a seed. And the neural pathways in the brain are actually changed every time you return. They've proven that. So, this isn't about reincarnation. But if we're here now, there are causes for this. This happened from certain causes. And this itself becomes a cause of what happens later. So if in this moment we're totally lost and totally flipped out and believing everything we think and totally involved with our emotions, we keep planting seeds for more of that. That's simple. And every time we come back home and do some practice, for instance, and slow our asses down for a minute, those are also seeds that get planted, which affect the waves that are made that go out this way. So whether that's reincarnation or incarnation, I used to have a friend who would go, wait, I'm having an in-the-body experience. It's hard to walk around New York without that. So, one thing can be sure, how we live this moment has a lot to do with how we feel and how the next moment arises and how we live in that moment. So it's, all these practices are techniques for helping us remember how to be a good person and to remember what's important in life. There's no button that you're going to find out there to push that's going to wipe it all away. And you know, I used to sit in front of Maharaji. He used to come out, one time that he came out was in the late afternoon after the daily guests had left the temple and gone back to their homes and stuff. And then just the people who were living in the temple would come and hang out with him in the evenings. So we would wash up and put on our clean clothes and come and sit with him. And once I was sitting there, and I went, oh man, because I saw, I was waiting to be enlightened. But my idea of enlightenment was some place that I wouldn't be. Somewhere else, something else, some experience that's got nothing to do with this. And it's if there is that, it's exactly the fucking opposite. There is no place where you will not be. For now and forever. So, might as well deal with the shit. Because we're here, we ain't going nowhere. So, and after you get over being depressed about that, you get to work.
No. It's not a cold. Okay, the sniffling. I just got sick.
I think that'll happen someday.
No worries. Just great.
So there I was sitting in front of him, and I was waiting for something to happen where I wouldn't be there anymore. How crazy is that? Huh? Come on, it's crazy, right? Thank you. No, it's not going to happen. We're here, and we're always going to be here. Whether we're in a body or not, by the way. We're still here. We may not be visible to other people who have identified with their senses and the 5 senses and the mind, but we're still here. And the great saints, the enlightened beings, those are the people who are here. We're the ones who aren't. Because we don't know yet. But we will. We have to. It's inevitable, unfortunately. Fortunately. Somebody behind you? Oh, okay. Then we'll get to you, Jeff.
Hi, my name is Datrey.
Hi, your name is?
Datrey. You were saying earlier about how Dalai Lama says that everyone has a good heart, which we want to believe and we try to believe. But when you look around the world right now,
Yeah.
where there's wars, hatred, and hunger, and how can you believe that everyone has a good heart?
Yeah. Well,
People
You
just
do-
killing each other,
yeah.
immigrants, there's just so much going on, so much hatred in the world. How do you explain that and say that people have good hearts? And it's like, Christ says that you have choice, freedom of choice. Why do people choose that?
Yeah. Sucks. the beings who know, all the beings who know, who've ever known, have said the same thing. In every religion, on every path, the beings who have awoken and realized whatever, God or whatever, they all say the same thing. They all say that the soul, or I call it the heart, is part of God and is good. But it is covered up. And we don't know who we are. And so we crave pleasure and good things, and we try to avoid suffering. And that sets up a whole dynamic where people kill each other for a piece of bread, or a little space, or some land, or a border, or countries fighting each other over what? A few trees? Who gives a fuck? Somebody does, because we're deluded. We are absolutely deluded. There's no question about it. But we think we're not. So we act in this deluded way where we hurt ourselves and we hurt others just to get a little bit of this and that. That's the state of a lot of this world. But it's not, there are still people not doing that, but still we read about most of the bad stuff. And certainly there's a lot of it. That doesn't mean people are essentially bad. It means we're essentially deluded. There's a difference. Delusion is something that can be altered and changed. Inherent evil can't be changed. But there is no such thing as that. They say. When I say, they say, when I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. It's wishful thinking at this point. They call it delusion. And all these great beings say the same thing. We need to work out that delusion and wake up and treat other people the same as we would like to be treated. I mean, that one thing, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat other people the way you would like to be treated. If we did that, just that one thing, who in this world would be hurting anybody else? And it would be a completely different world. But we're not able to do that. Why? Because we've been living in delusion a long time. And we act out of delusion and selfish interests. And we're motivated by shame and fear and guilt and pride and anger and selfish interest. And we keep recreating more suffering for ourselves and others. So, yeah, but that doesn't mean that we're inherently bad. It just means that we're fucked up. There's no question about that. And you'll see, you walk out of here and somebody cut you off in the car, and if you had a gun, you would shoot him. It's that quick. Because these are knee-jerk reactions. We can't think ourselves out of this shit. We have to practice our way deep into our hearts and open up and let go of all these self-preservation instincts that are not self-preservation, but they are selfish preservation. But we're all like that. I mean, I was in a car once on the way to bring some CDs into a radio station in the city. So I'm driving along and I think, why don't I listen to this? Everybody else listens to me in their car. So I put me in my car and I'm thinking, hey, Hare Krishna. This is great. I turned it up. Hare Krishna. But somebody cut me off. Shut up! Hare Krishna. You don't get a vote at those moments. We don't sit deeply enough in ourselves to get a vote when that button is pushed by something in life. And it can be grief, it can be sadness, it can be shame, it can be fear, it can be anger, it can be all those lovely things we keep hidden under our pillows at night. So, that's the work we have to do. And we're not just doing it for ourselves either. I mean, that's another delusion, that yoga practice or meditation or chanting is just for me. It can't be just for you. We're all one. There's only one of us in the whole fucking universe. So if one of us wakes up, that affects everybody. Every little bit less of anger and fear and shame that we carry around affects everybody. You may not see it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. One little act of kindness, random acts of kindness. Where's that bumper sticker? Practice random act of kindness. Great bumper sticker. So, I mean, look at James Woods. He's out there rescuing horses, helping people with this. He didn't have to do that. He could have a helicopter pick him up at his home and disappear to some island. That's good. Goodness. I'm not afraid. See, that's the thing that we recognized. After years of having all these enlightenment experiences, these Kensho waking up moments on the map, in the Zendo, on the sessions, you realize it's only fear that keeps us, that causes us to hurt ourselves and others. And so he said, let's go right to the fear. Let's just go for it, Let's get through it. Let's not avoid it. No sense catapulting yourself up into outer space if you're going to come back and land on your head. Let's go right to the fear. Let's get rid of that, and then everything will be cool. So, but yeah, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do next day that's going to alleviate and lessen the suffering in the world? Whatever it is you do, you do.